2024 is all done for this car. So last thing I did was the Matsuri Ebisu. Had a lot of fun, car was faultless, and now it's time to take a little bit of time off, but also jump straight into the car because next year we got D1 lights. And although right now there's no problems as such, there's just a lot of stuff that I want to improve and just make it nicer, simpler. And I guess the first major thing is going to be switching to a Grady V-mount intercooler, which also comes with a dual pass radiator. Right now I've only got a single pass, and in summer it's a bit tough to maintain water temps. It's okay, but I just don't have to worry about it anymore, so we'll just go with a tried and tested, proven setup. And then I guess the other thing, I've been shedding some weight out of the car. I've got it down 28.5 kilos so far, and that's been passenger seat, stereo, speakers, aerial, and I had a water injection set up on the car that I'd never used, don't plan to use. So that had like a lot of wiring, had a pump, had a reservoir. So yeah, just want to take a moment to have a look at it all because it's not really going to look like this ever again. Here we have the Grady V-mount kit. Now we're just running through it quickly. You got intercooler, radiator, coolant pipe, throttle body outlet, air separator tank, cooler pipe, ducting, and a bit of foam to cover up all the air gaps around the outsides. You have a power steer line, relocator, instructions of course, all in Japanese, but if you need it, I believe they have English translations online. And your box full of everything you're going to need. The famous Japanese clear coolant line, I'm assuming that is. And not everyone's favourite, the blue silicon, but it does say Grady, so we might have to run that. Now this isn't actually Grady. This is made by Ready Go Next. They, if you know FDs, they're pretty famous for scuba, time attack and things like that. So this goes between the chassis rails, and from factory your battery tray, intercooler, a few other little bits bolt up here. Now when I first put that Blitz intercooler in my car, you actually have to cut up quite a lot of this, so I wasn't sure if I would need some of those threaded bits. So I was just looking to buy a stock one, then I saw this, and you know, it's nice, stainless, dimple dyed. Yeah, it'll make it look cool. Now I guess a few features with this, starting with the two-pass radiator. So obviously this slit here forces the coolant to come down, across to the bottom, and then back up through the radiator again. Now you can do that to just any radiator, you can just cut it and then put a plate in there, weld it back up. But you know, it's already done, comes with the kit. Radiator, intercooler, super thick, and the way it's routed, the piping ends up super short. So this will probably be the longest pipe that I have, which is very short, so I've probably lost 1/2 meter of cooler pipe. Probably not a huge difference, but it all helps. The Grady throttle elbow. Now the factory one is plastic, which is probably a little better for heat, but again, it says Grady, so it's cool, we'll run it. And plus the piping works for that, so we definitely will run it. The air separator tank, I don't use the factory one because it's plastic and they fail, but this one is quite nice, so I think I'll switch back to that. All the ducting is very detailed, everything's got pre-bent, all the holes are drilled. And yeah, of course, I'm not really sure how yet because I obviously haven't done it, but there is a divider plate that splits the air between the cooler and the rad. So if you're having like intake temps are too high but the radiator water temps are really cool, you can give the intercooler more air and take some air away from the radiator. So that's all nice to have the adjustability there. But yeah, by the looks of this, I got quite a bit of work to do, so I'm gonna go get that done. skipping forward quite a bit obviously, but got the V-mount all done. Pretty straightforward. They have pretty detailed instructions and there's a lot of English translations available. And I also changed to the turbulone upper intake manifold. Some guys are seeing roughly 10% at the wheel horsepower gains just from changing the manifold. No other changes, no more boost, nothing. So in my case, that would net me another 40 wheel horsepower. Even if you just say 30, that is pretty significant for a bolt-on part. That's exciting. Now, obviously we need to do something with the cooler pipe. Probably rotate the turbo over and then have a straight shot here, and then get the intake to the turbo down in this area, because that also gets the air from the V-mount. And to do this, usually you have to move the battery to the back of the car, but I personally can't stand that, because then you run all these big fat gauge wires all the way through the car, and you know, you ever need to jump start the car, you have to get in behind the driver's seat, all that crap. So, and also when it's in the car, you need to put a box around it to seal it. So keeping it here is the simplest way. Also, all your fuses and things are here, it's nice and convenient. And this tray is from, I'm gonna murder this, but I think it's J3P, JP3 Motorsports or something. Not a cheap little setup, but super neat. Comes with brackets to move the intercooler over slightly, and all the other piping still works. So for me, that's really worth it for the convenience. Now, yeah, the car's got to go to Motegi anyway to get some regulation stuff done for D1 lights. We have to get a door bar added, catch cam for the diff, gearbox. I need a proper coolant overflow for the first time in this car's history, not a plastic bottle. And yeah, the other big change is the aero. This change was not necessary, but something I just wanted to do. We've taken off the Vertex Widebody and switched to a M Sport, front bumper, front fenders, side skirts, splitter and canards. And the rear fenders are D-Max. And don't have a rear bumper yet, but that is coming. And for this year, or this version of the car, GT wing is gone, and I've just switched to a Car Shop Glow, like a ducktail rear spoiler, just nice and simple. And something I just like about this kit, well, my old one's kind of the only one that does it. It like makes the whole fender is like plus 35, so it kind of makes the car wide and square, whereas this one gives it that like hourglass again. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks great. Can't wait to see it all in colour, which is also changing. With the front fenders being a bit narrower at the back, I'm having some clearance issues. I've taken all my spaces off that I used to run, and it only just clears the fenders, but I don't really have full clearance on lock. It's very close, so I might be able to make it work with some small slip-on spaces, but worst case, I'll have to go to 17-inch wheels up front, which is not the end of the world, but I've been avoiding doing that for a long time, so I'm kind of stubborn and don't want to give in, but if I do, I do. I think the rest of it looks really cool, and it's worth sacrifice. From here, it's ready for paint once the rear bumper comes, or it can go to Motegi's and get the V-mount fabrication finished, and also the lights regulation stuff all up to spec. But yeah, it just depends on who wants the car first, and yeah, we're in other people's hands at the moment. But we're on schedule. We still got 2 months before, 2 and a bit months before the first round of lights, and we need to get out and test, obviously, because I haven't driven since November last year. And also the intake will need some tuning. It'll need some more fuel, likely, if it's going to make 10% more power. Should need 10% more fuel, give or take. But yeah, super happy. It's been really cold here, so, and we only get a short window of sunlight in winter, so we've been just chipping away slowly, and I'm still on track. We didn't fall behind. Just need to see who wants the car first and keep updated what happens there.